last week when somebody tried to catfish me. I think it was like literally last Monday. So I was pretty much of the opinion, like, if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna try and lie to me, you better make it good. Like, you better make it believable. You better make it like something interesting. Just like, why would you waste my time with something that was obviously not gonna work? And I ended up like putting that situation out of my head, right? But I started talking to the surgeon, and I told you guys yesterday, I think, that something just felt funny, and I couldn't really place it. So I ended up deep diving into his story, and I looked up which medical school he went to, and I found out specifically that the medical school he said he went to, they offer like medical science degrees, but they don't actually have an MD or a DO program. So I was like, okay. And he said that he was an gastroenterologist. But he also said he was a board certified surgeon. And I started Googling what a gastroenterologist even does. And they do like colonoscopies and endoscopies and like endoscopies. Is that how you say it? I don't know. But that's not really surgery. And if you're going to get surgery on your stomach or like your intestinal organs or whatever, they've got like 2 different specialized ones, and then they've got general surgeons. So like nobody that is a gastroenterologist actively calls themselves a surgeon. So that was another inconsistency. And today, I just fucking like brought it up in the slickest ways possible. And he started like slipping back on his story and trying to be like, oh no, it was actually this medical school. And I'm like, oh great. And then I'm like, but your duties don't really include the stuff you said they do. So like, that's weird. He's like, wow, you really did your homework, huh? I might have been a little enthusiastic calling it surgery. It just feels like surgery sometimes. I'm like, yeah, okay. So what I think happened, Hierophant energy. I think it's a real person responding in real time and using AI to try and come up with responses that would seem organic. Because it reads like AI, but it's happening in real time and there are imperfections. It's not like the entire thing is scripted or AI generated and it's like I'm talking to a robot. It's almost like a person is using ChatGPT or something to come up with the most favorable responses that they can. And when anything gets put under the pressure, that's when it falls apart. But had I not intuitively felt something was wrong here, I wouldn't have felt the need to deep dive into his story like that, because the pictures check out. You can't reverse image search them and find a person, I don't know if those were actually him or not, but chances are they probably weren't. I would say they probably weren't. But if they were stolen pictures, they were well stolen, meaning that they're not just hanging out on some random socials page or being regularly populated through like TikTok where somebody's making a bunch of fake accounts using those images. So it was relatively well made, but it didn't hold up because of the details. And honestly, I felt like Olivia fucking Pope unraveling this story right now. And honestly, it was kind of fun. It was kind of entertaining being able to do that. And, I will say if I was going to have like 1 week yesterday, another catfish situation, at least this one was entertaining. You know what I mean? And I'm so glad that I didn't feel invested at all. The entire time, I was like, something feels off here, but I couldn't prove it. You know what I mean? Like, so fucking fascinating. And I learned a bunch about random medical shit. So that's cool, I guess. Your instincts are to be trusted, might be the message here. When you feel something in your gut and you're not sure why you're feeling that way, listen to it. And when something presents and it gives you that nagging feeling like something's just off, something's too perfect, something's not right, probably isn't. You know to trust your intuition when you feel something is true. It's easy to trust your intuition when you feel something is true. But most people find themselves blinded when they're seeing something that they don't want to believe isn't true. When you've got this cute guy that's really driven and emotionally connected and self-aware talking to you, and he's gone through sympathetic situations, the loss of loved ones. Literally, I'm a grief and bereavement specialist. Bleeding heart, right? Naturally, I want to empathize and connect with people that have gone through loss. So, perfectly tailored to what I would find sympathetic or empathetic in another person. But I just didn't feel it. The energy, I didn't feel the emotions coming from him. It's almost like when somebody's smiling, but you don't see it in their eyes. That's how it felt. And that's why I remained completely detached. Something felt off. So now that it is blocked and reported and whatever else, I'm sitting here like I was right. And I'm not usually wrong about stuff like that. I can trust my intuition whenever I feel like something is true. And when I don't want to believe the lie, when I'm simply looking objectively, I know when things are not true. There's an awareness you only get when you're not looking for a specific answer. When you are not looking for one specific way things can go, when you are not looking for that one confirmation that you desperately need to confirm what you actually want to happen, when you're removed from that, when you're detached, when you're objective, then you can actually see it for what it is. So, I actually had a lot of fun with that. Maybe it shouldn't have been fun though. Was I not supposed to enjoy it? Maybe not. So let's just bring it down, bring down the energy a little bit. But I think the person that I'm choosing not to put in the friend zone is separated. Didn't text me at all today after I had that conversation about compatibility and detachment and being okay with any outcome and really thinking about, because he's an ex-people pleaser, about what's good for him in the situation. I think he's deciding not to be in the friend zone, and that means just not talking. So I'm probably going to, if he were to respond at this point, I would be like, I don't think it's a good idea. But hopefully he comes to that conclusion on his own, because that would be growth for him. That would be something that he was in this to learn. To set that boundary, to not be a self-sacrificing individual in that dynamic, and to not put yourself in the friend zone for this perception of somebody, because he doesn't actually know me. It's whoever he thought he saw. He didn't want to actually get to know me. He didn't want to actually get to know me until I was already there. So, whatever hologram he was looking at, he decided not to engage, which is smart. That's the best thing he could have done, because I wouldn't have gone there. I would have reaffirmed that it's a friend boundary, and then eventually when he tried to push it, I would have been like, I told you I didn't want to go past this line. I told you that it was unlikely that I was going to go past that boundary. And he would have just been like, I didn't think you meant it, something like that. But all tests go two ways. It wasn't just about him choosing not to engage in that situation. It was about me not putting someone in that situation. And then ferreting out the truth on this one was just like, I don't know, a premonition. What happened last week, or projection, or maybe discernment, intuition test.